welcome to your F1 Live weekend warm-up, coming to you from the paddock here in Sao Paulo, ahead of the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. And Lawrence, we've made it from Mexico to Brazil, and it is chilly, you can tell by how we are dressed up.
By potluck, we bought these just because it was cold when we left the UK. Didn't think we were actually going to be needing these jackets out here, but it's been cold, it's been spitting with rain pretty much all day, and it's going to look set to continue into tomorrow. But the good news is the weather improves as the weekend goes on.
Well, the good news is we've got plenty of action this weekend. Of course, another sprint weekend format. And the championship still close, but not quite as close as it was when we were in Mexico. Max Verstappen extending his lead to 19 points over Lewis Hamilton. Has Lewis Hamilton got time to overturn this?
He's definitely got time, because we have got 4 races to go and still a lot of points on the table, and he can probably take heart from the fact that there was a bigger lead earlier this year than Max had, and Lewis managed to kind of make it swing in his favour. So that's the good news. But of course it's going to be tough, because Brazil, Max won here last time we were here. He should have won the year before that, and so obviously the momentum at this circuit is with Red Bull.
I spoke to Lewis. He said that Red Bull are going to be ahead for the whole weekend. You spoke to Max. Different sort of vibe from Max?
Max is confident without being confident, which I know sounds a bit strange, but I think he feels comfortable with the fact that this car should be the dominant car around here. But when talking to Valtteri Bottas, he reckons it could be quite close if Mercedes get all their ducks in a row.
Well, let's hear from our 2 biggest championship rivals, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen.
I'm in general, looking forward to it. It's a nice place to be. Great fans, great track. There are not that many corners, but the corners there are, with all the elevation changes you have, they are really nice. And of course, the last time we were here, good memories. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
How are you enjoying this title battle this year? There's a lot of chatter off track, on track. You seem really zoned in, but when you were a kid, I guess this is what you aspired to, right? A really tight battle.
Well, I'm just happy that I have the chance to fight for the championship, and we've had good pole positions and race wins, and I'm definitely enjoying the moment. So there's no reason to feel pressure, because I love what I'm doing.
People tune into the race and then don't really have much of an idea of what happens in between. But the amount of work that the team have to do in between to take the car to pieces, for the whole circus to travel in such a short space of time to somewhere. It's a 15-hour trip to get here, so very, very long.
And so where do you think you're going to be stronger this weekend, and where do you think Red Bull are going to be stronger?
I think they're going to be stronger all weekend. That's everywhere. They're stronger everywhere at the moment.
Okay, so that's a little bit nerve-wracking for you, is it? Or is it okay?
It's not nerve-wracking, it's just a fact, and it's just the way it is. So it's just about trying to maximize the car. And if we can have conditions like this, maybe it can throw a spanner in the works, but they're a bit ahead at the moment.
So let's look at P3 in the Constructors' Championship now, and of course that goes to Ferrari at the moment, 13.5 points ahead of McLaren. It's a bit busy outside the garage, Lawrence. A bit of a delay, wasn't there, with the freight?
Yeah, some bad weather just meant that a lot of the freight for a few teams down the grids didn't arrive on time. Normally by this time this is all clear and the guys are all set up ready to go for tomorrow. So there's a slight delay, but the guys will work through the night. There's no curfew tonight, and hopefully, it's just business as usual tomorrow. Absolutely.
Everyone out on track for FP1. Let's talk about that battle then. So Ferrari moving away from McLaren. You spoke to both the Ferrari drivers. What's the general feeling? They got the stronger package this weekend, do you think?
So the internal data at Ferrari suggests that McLaren are going to have the edge, but Carlos was saying that when it's that close, he reckons that Ferrari can make the difference if they have a strong weekend. They operationally operate really well. Lando and Daniel, I think generally speaking, are pretty hopeful that they'll be stronger than they were in Mexico, where they kind of fell off the pace, and that's why we've got that gap between them in the championship.
Well, a bit of mind games going on, I think, between those 2 teams. Let's hear from Carlos Sainz now.
Yeah, good weekend in Mexico, where we probably, as a Ferrari driver, I had one of my best performances. A bit unlucky at the start that we couldn't maximize the full result, but we come into Brazil with a good momentum, and we want to keep that going.
What about this place? Do you think you guys should be quite strong around here? Charles was suggesting it might be tougher versus McLaren.
On paper, yes, our simulation suggests McLaren should be a bit quicker than us here this weekend, but it's so tight that the simulations really don't count that much, because when it's within half a tenth, 1/10 like we are with McLaren, it's just going to be down to who puts the lap together, who nails the setup, and who gets the sprint quali format right.
Now, such is the tight nature of the paddock here in Brazil. We are outside Alpine's hospitality, but we're outside Aston Martin's garage. So let's start by talking about Alpine. 106 points, equal to AlphaTauri at the moment, because of course Alpine had the win. They're actually a little higher in the championship standings. I spoke to Fernando, you spoke to Esteban. Tell me what Esteban had to say.
He was actually very optimistic heading to this weekend. It was a frustrating weekend for him. He got sandwiched essentially at the start of Mexico, didn't really get going. Fernando scored, but AlphaTauri scored so much more significantly that gap between them has evaporated. And Esteban was saying that if they can go back to that form where they were getting both cars into the points in the way that AlphaTauri haven't really been able to do, he's pretty confident they should get the edge. But that's one of the most exciting battles I think that we've got at the moment.
Certainly is. And Fernando Alonso saying that the bad qualifying performance in Mexico was all down to him. So it's up to him to put together a great lap. And of course, qualifying on Friday afternoon now, not the Saturday slot that we're used to. If we then flip round and talk about Aston Martin, you had a chat with Lance. How's he feeling going into the weekend?
He's optimistic given that Sebastian had such a strong car underneath him in Mexico, and he felt, Lance said, that the car's been strong all year, they just haven't been able to get the most out of it. So he's hoping that here on an unpredictable weekend, the sprint kind of mixes things up potentially, that hopefully he can be back in the mix of points, because there's been a few races now since he scored.
Certainly has. Sebastian Vettel telling me that race pace in Mexico was pretty good, but really difficult to know how that's going to translate here in Brazil, because totally different track, different asphalt, obviously the conditions are going to be different altitude. But I was really interested to hear what Sebastian had been up to since Mexico, going to Pedro Diniz's farm. I love that.
Yeah, I don't think I've talked about Pedro Diniz so much than when he was back racing in the 90s. But it's great that he went to visit his farm. He hadn't actually met him, of course, before he went to the farm. And he's so interested in sustainable farming, and that's obviously what Pedro does over here. So I reckon he's going to be involved in that kind of thing when he leaves Formula One.
I did say to Seb when I was interviewing him that it's wonderful the way he goes about it. It's very quiet, doesn't get everybody there, it's not a media frenzy. He just has an interest, goes and sees it, does it, whatever it might be, whether it's litter picking, and it's all just very quietly getting on with it.
I think he's generally interested in that sort of things. When he did the litter pick at Silverstone, he didn't then go and make a song and dance about the fact he went to the factory to see where that litter went to. You're right, he just goes around the world, is interested, he reads a lot about sustainability, the environment, and how he can improve things. And I think he's just trying to build his own knowledge and use his platform to tell people that things need to change.
Certainly, it's absolutely brilliant. Let's hear from the champion now.
Maybe the highlight yesterday, I went to see Pedro Diniz, who obviously disappeared from Formula One a long time ago. But I read a book and he was mentioned in the book, and I found out about his project now and what he's doing. And it was great to visit him at his farm and see his approach to farming, which is very different. And I think an approach that does have a future. So I think. It's a great responsibility to grow food, but doing it the right way and giving something back, I think it's a great way to do it. So it was inspiring to see what he has achieved so far and to see, what he's built.
I think you're also very inspiring, Seb, because you're doing all this very quietly, without everybody having to shine the spotlight on you doing it. Would you agree with that?
I don't know. I guess I have to agree, but I don't know. I'm doing it my way. I'm interested in lots of things, and when I get to, get the chance to travel the world and see different places and meet different people and learn stuff, then I'm up for it. But I know that nowadays it's the norm. Normally is to talk about everything that you do, and I don't feel that urge. I never started it, so maybe that's why. But I'm happy to talk to you about it when you ask me. But if you don't, then we can talk about something else as well.
AlphaTauri, Lawrence, had a sort of bittersweet weekend in Mexico. It was all looking pretty rosy during qualifying, and then Yuki Tsunoda with the penalty being taken out in the race, so DNF for him. But yeah, what a result for him in Mexico. And it feels like he's really got the momentum just to perform all the time at the moment.
Yeah, he's had a couple of results this year where he hasn't transferred the points that he deserved because of the form that he showed, but he had a lonely race in Mexico, but I don't think he'll care because those are a hefty amount of points. It's pulled them level with Alpine in the Constructors' Championship. And Franz Tost has been talking about finishing P5 in the Constructors' Championship since I've known him. So this could be the closest chance they're ever going to get to do that. And they're driving in the right way. And the good news is Yuki's moving in that right direction as well. And had he not got caught up in that first corner incident, they could have been leading into this race. So I think that bodes well for this circuit.
And you spoke with Yuki and he was talking a little bit about how the engineers have helped him, how Pierre's helped him get on terms with the car and obviously turning up to tracks that he's never raced on and then tomorrow, it's going to be a quick learning experience, isn't it? Just one practice session before he's got to qualify.
Exactly, and that's why it's so great that Pierre has been helping him out to kind of give him that baseline to try and hit the ground running, because an hour is just not a long time to learn a new circuit. He's also got Alex Albon who's here, who's kind of mentoring him, not driver coaching him, but just helping him out. And I think the more people that he can get to support him, the stronger all-round he'll be and the whole package will be.
Well, someone who does know this circuit rather well is Kimi Räikkönen.
Yep.
I had a chat with him and I asked him about his memories, and I was actually interested. I asked Fernando Alonso the same question, must come through the gate with lots of memories here. And both of them said, yeah, I have good memories. I also have bad memories. So obviously there are different years have given different races to those drivers, but Kimi's going to probably enjoy saying goodbye to Brazil, I imagine, for the final time, or enjoy racing here for the final time.
Yeah, exactly. We've had those moments. Do you remember he got lost when he went down an escape road? There's a lot of moments that we're going to look back on for Kimi and think, oh, we're going to miss him, I think. But I do think he's going to enjoy his final few races, and that car actually looks pretty racy, and if they get it in the right window, they could be in for contention for some small points this weekend again.
Well, Antonio Giovinazzi, I'm crossing my fingers for him, because of course maybe a few more races left for him in his Formula One career, and P11, it's just going on and on and on. Poor guy. And I asked him whether he'd get into the top 10. What do you think the realistic chances are for him getting in?
I think the fact he's finished in that position suggests he's actually not that far away to be doing that consistently. It just hasn't quite worked out for him so far this year. The car, though, importantly, is performing well. So if he can get the most out of it, the team can be operationally strong. I think he's got a shot.
Well, he was all jokes in the media pen earlier on when he spoke to me. Have a listen to this. P11. Is this the weekend for inside the top 10 finish again?
I will give the position, if I'm P11 again in the last 2 laps, I will give the position. I will either like to finish P12 than 11. But I know, like a joke. I think for sure it's not, it's a little bit frustrating. But, it's like this, it's racing, and I was disappointing after Mexico because we lost points like a team in the end. But now, new race weekend, new track, new format as well with the sprint qualifier. So, I had a good memories here back in 2019 with my best result in F1. So hopefully I can have again a great result here.
Do you remember how you kind of prepared for that weekend and how you can sort of replicate what happened in 2019, P5?
Not much different compared to another race weekend. It was just a crazy race, and we had a good pace. And then, we suddenly finished P4 and P5. So hopefully we'll be the same year and maybe improve again, that result that we had 2 years ago.
Love that, P11 to podium, 1 week to the next. We've made it down to the other end of the paddock and we're outside the Haas hospitality. And I spoke to both of the Haas drivers because this has been a difficult year for two rookies.
Yeah.
You'd agree?
I would completely agree. I feel for them because they've come in and hoped that Formula One be the pinnacle for them, and they haven't really been able to race anyone other than each other.
And at times it's become a little difficult on track for the two of them because they're jostling over the same patch of asphalt, really.
Yeah, exactly. And with a car that's not going to be operating at peak conditions, Nikita Mazepin's done a ton of testing for Mercedes. This car's going to be nothing like that. So for him to try and adapt to that is going to be difficult. Mick's obviously come up having had a team that allowed him to win the championship and then come to a team at the other end of the spectrum. But they're looking forward, they're staying positive, they're learning all the lessons they can in this year, and it's just going to be another learning experience for them out there this weekend.
Really difficult. Nikita hasn't even been on the sim for this track, so it's going to be an intense hour of FP1 tomorrow morning. Then we look to Williams.
Yep.
Nicky Latifi has been here, but I say has been here, has not raced here.
No.
So again, another new track for him to get his head around.
Yeah, it's been tough, but he's adapted so well, I think, since he's joined Williams and had to go through all of these new tracks, those learning occasions. I think he's had an FP1 here in kind of wet and drizzly conditions like we've had, and that will help him kind of have a baseline at least to hit the ground running with only one practice session this weekend. But he was saying that the altitude, their car hasn't really operated that well in those conditions, so he is expecting a slightly more challenging weekend.
And talked about the cooling being an issue in Mexico. The fact that it's going to be cooler here, just in terms of sort of ambient weather, that might play towards their advantage.
Yeah, exactly, and it's a shorter track where you can overtake, and the weather's unpredictable, and we've got the sprint on Saturday, so there are lots of other variables in there that Williams have shown multiple times this season. When things are kind of not straightforward, they've been able to take advantage.
Just let's hope it's not too windy. Let's hear from George Russell now.
I like having qualifying on the Friday. That's probably as much as it gets, to be honest.
Is that because people start talking about you earlier on in the weekend?
No, it's just because Friday feels much more of a meaningful day. I mean, it's always been meaningful, but for different reasons, for your preparation. But, we're racers and we just want to get racing. Sprint race, mixed reviews so far. I don't think Silverstone and Monza were the most interesting races, but maybe it's different here. Who knows? And we've only done 2 so far, so we need to give it a fair trial.
And what have you been working on with your engineers in the last few days? Have you had meetings and things like that?
It's been relatively relaxed, to be honest. Just reviewing sort of what went wrong in Mexico, but there's not really anything you can carry over from Mexico into this race because the issues were the altitude and the limited cooling we had, which was the reason why we were really off the pace. So, and preparing for this, there's more work has to go into a Thursday to make sure you try and hit the ground running and be as prepared as possible because you don't have those 3 sessions to build up to Sunday.
Now, Lawrence, something's different, something's changed. I can't put my finger on it.
Look behind you.
Oh, I was meaning Sam Collins. Okay, Sam is here. Great to have Sam Collins with us in Brazil. You are right, behind us, it's all changed. The logo has changed. F1 powered by hybrid since 2014. And Sam, seems like a good time to bring you in to talk about this bit, because I know you love the hybrid era. Tell us a bit about this change.
Well, this is actually powered by hybrid since 2014. Now, I know some of you at home will be saying, well, no, hang on. The first hybrid in Formula One was in 2009, and all cars in Formula One had hybrid systems of some sort by 2013. However, that was mild hybrid. They were quite low powered, 60 kilowatts. The proper big hybrid systems, the really important ones, the ones that actually make a difference to the modern world, they came in 2014. And that's what Formula One is advertising, how important this change is, not just to the sport, not just to the racing, but also to the world. That technology can roll on. Formula One's also moving into sustainable fuels in the future, so keeping that relevance not just to road cars, but ships and planes and all sorts of stuff like that.
It's good to have him back, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I love that.
You couldn't have said it better myself.
Now, Sam, you've been busy all day long while we've been sort of in our office tapping away at our laptops. You've been out in the pit lane. What have you spied? What should we keep an eye out for this weekend?
Well, I've literally just come in from the pit lane. My hair's still a bit wet, actually,
Can't
from
tell.
that.
Can't tell.
It really is. What I've noticed, so there's only one team in the pit lane. There's a hugely busy pit lane and a little bit soggy. Only one team in the pit lane is being secretive about their car anymore, and that is Red Bull. They are still updating that car. There's still work going on. They are gung-ho to win this World Championship. Mercedes, on the other hand, they have the hybrid safety precautions all around Lewis Hamilton's car right now, and that suggests to me that possibly, there's a new V6 in the back of that Mercedes, but they have to bolt on all of those electrical components around the V6. And if he does that at this race, 5-place grid penalty in the Grand Prix, but no penalty for the sprint. So that's really important. He could be after those 3 points.
So strategically, a good time and a good race weekend to take it.
Absolutely. I think it's crucial. I think it could be Mercedes rolling the dice. We delve into it a little bit more in tech talk later on.
Well, that is fabulous. Lots to look out for. I need your predictions, fast and furious. Your top 3, please.
Sergio Perez is going to win from a Ferrari driven by Charles Leclerc, and in third position will be Lewis Hamilton. And that is in the Grand Prix, not the sprint.
Okay, lovely. And now for you in the Grand Prix, please.
I'm going to go for a Max win, a Sergio Perez second, and a Lewis Hamilton third. Oh, are you? I suppose. Oh, you?
I'm not going to be on the podium, Lawrence. Not in this Anorak. I thought you were going to ask me my prediction.
What are your predictions, Rosanna?
Okay, so I think it's going to be Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc. There you go. You've heard it from us. It's probably not going to come true. We've got so much more exciting things to look out for this weekend. My thanks to Sam, my thanks to Lawrence, thanks to you for watching. We'll be back over the course of the weekend. Goodbye.